Hola muchachos, ¿qué tal? Buenos días. Aquí tienen el horario para hoy, miércoles 18 de septiembre. This is your review activity for your quiz next class. And if you want to know what to study for that quiz, I would essentially study what we've been working on for the past couple classes. At your class schedule, en español, el horario de clases. And I would pay particular attention to the periods of the day here. Primera hora, first period, segunda hora, second period, tercera hora, third period, etc. I would study your classes as it relates to your class schedule, and then the items or the materials that you would associate and bring to your classes. And then, of course, know your class schedule in its entirety. And essentially, this would be great to study as well because you have the periods, your classes, the materials, and then in this fourth category, your descriptive adjectives, the way that you would describe your classes. So I would have this handy, not only to study from, but also to have to complete this activity, which is going to be due next class. So for this first section, las clases, write the name of the item that you see pictured here on the left. And then the class that you would associate with that item on the right. Again, this handout would be great as a reference. Try not to use it too much if you can, but utilize it to the extent that you need to complete both of these. So for example, number one, el libro. ¿Para qué clase? La clase de español. El libro, la clase de español. Number two, la calculadora. La calculadora en la clase de matemáticas. Number three, el libro, once again, but it looks like a different class, la clase de inglés. Number four would be computadora, and whether that's la tecnología or las computadoras, or maybe another class like TS, for example, el salón de estudiar, or any other class that you maybe have a lot of work to do on Canvas. Might be all your classes. Part B, now unscramble the letters to find out what classes you have today and what you need to bring to school. So these are classes and materials. So category 2 and category 3 in your handout. Number 1 would be la clase de inglés. Number 2 would be la clase de arte. Number 3, el diccionario. Just have to unscramble. Next page. ¿Cómo son tus clases? How would you describe your classes? For this one, we're going to modify it a little bit. I want you to feel free to begin with sí or no. Sí being yes, no being no. So you don't have to go based on the response that's provided. I want you to answer the question authentically according to you, whether or not you like or dislike your classes. So for example, ¿te gusta la clase de matemáticas? Do you like math class? Sí. And then you're going to use this category of adjectives here. And if you do like math, well then choose an adjective that's positive. Sí, es fácil. Sí, es excelente. Sí, es interesante. Or sí, es así así. Es así así meaning not bad but not good. Kind of in the middle. If you don't like the class, don't begin with sí, begin with no. Then maybe you want to choose a negative, if you will, description. No es difícil, or no es aburrida, or no es así así. Right? So a descriptive adjective, and then before that descriptive adjective, you're going to put es to say yes, it is, or no, it isn't, or no, it is, and then a descriptive adjective from that category. If you don't have the class at all, like for example, number 1, ¿te gusta la clase de tecnología? Technology would be a computer science class. If you don't have that class, then you would say no tengo, right? No, yo no tengo. Yo no tengo la clase de, and then the class. No tengo la clase de tecnología. So again, for this one, you're using descriptive adjectives, such as those in the category there, category 4, group 4, and you're using them to describe your classes. Begin with sí or no, followed by the verb ser, and then a descriptive adjective. Or begin with no tengo la clase de, and then whatever class it is that's being asked about. All right, so that does it for this page, asking about how do you like technology class, Spanish class, math class. Social science would be a history class, or child development, human geography, psychology. Natural science would be a biology class, chemistry, living earth. Educación física is PE, English, and art. And again, if you don't have any of these classes, begin by saying yo no tengo. Yo no tengo la clase de, and then whatever class is being asked about. For this page, I want you to disregard the class schedule that's provided, and I want you to use your class schedule that you guys created earlier. So disregard this schedule and utilize your schedule. That's basically what you're doing here. Tengo la clase de, for example, tengo la clase de inglés en la primera hora, segunda hora would come next, tercera hora, cuarta hora, quinta hora, sexta, séptima, all the way to octava hora. And then part A and B on the last page, this is a little tricky. You have to follow the instructions here. How would you talk about the following people? And you're going to write the correct subject pronoun that you think would be used to replace each subject. If you guys go to page 24 in the textbook, you have the subject pronouns here for the verb ser and for the verb tener. Subject pronouns in Spanish are yo, I, tú, you, you familiar, you casual, él, he, ella, she, usted is you formal when you're talking to someone politely. Nosotros and nosotras both mean we, but nosotras would be an all-female group, and ellos and ellas mean they, whereas ellas is an all-female group. Ustedes is the pronoun that you would use to talk to more than one person. So, doing the first couple together, how would you talk about Pablo? Just like the example here, ella, to replace the name Marisol. Él would be used to replace the name Pablo. Again, you're talking about him. He, él. Maria and Esther is female plural. That would be ellas, they. Marta y yo, Marta and I, you're included in this group. So how would you refer to you and Marta? Depends on your gender, right? If you're female, it would be nosotras. If you identify as male, it would be nosotros. How would you talk to Marisol and somebody else? This would be ustedes. Talking to a group of people. For part B, how would you talk to the following group of people, or following people, whether it's singular or plural? Talking to your friend Josefina, use the to form. Talking about Professor Santiago would be the usted form. Usted. Talking to Marta and Carmen, that would be ustedes. And then Anita y yo, you're part of this group. That would be nosotros or nosotras. Very similar to number 3 in the previous exercise. So that assignment is due by the end of the day next class. Remember, next class you guys have your quiz. Your quiz is going to be on these key terms. The periods in your schedule, the classes that you have in your schedule, and the materials that you would associate with your schedule.